AI is fundamentally reshaping global business operations as well as customer experiences. Our next panel brings together Shailesh Jain, Global Head of Data and Analytics from Landmark Group, Anjana Wijegunasinghe, who is Group Director, Data Audit and Digital Assurance Solutions at DP World, and Dino Varkey, Group CEO, GEMS Education. This discussion will be moderated by Professor Feng Zhu, MBA class of 1958, Professor of Business Administration, Harvard Business School, whose research on digital platforms is reshaping our understanding of AI-driven business models.
Thank you very much. And before we start the panel discussion, some of you are aware that I recently published a book called The Smart Rebels: How Innovative Companies Play Games That Tech Giants Cannot Win. So this is a book about how traditional companies can not just kind of survive, but also thrive in the digital age, right? So I was just told that the book has already arrived, and on your way out, you can actually pick up a free copy, right? So just a quick announcement, right? And thank you. So it's really a great pleasure to be the moderator of this panel, and we have three esteemed panelists here, and they are from different industries, but the one thing common about their companies is that they are all multinational companies, right? So maybe I could first invite each of the panelists to kind of briefly describe your company and also tell us a little bit about how has AI, right, affected your business. Yeah, maybe Anjana?
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I'm from Dubai Ports World. We are into supply chain and logistics and globally present in more than 500 physical locations, literally in every continent. And we do handle 10% of the global trade across the world and also contributing to nearly 33% to the GDP of Dubai. In terms of the volume of the transactions and the data, you can imagine. So looking into the landscape of our business present in different geographical locations, the impact of AI, I mean, just like the sessions we had in the morning all day, there are a lot of potential and opportunities which we see in our business as well. If I'm looking at more from a strategic point of view, when your organization is so diverse and present in so many geographical locations, there are many factors which impact your business, the success, starting from the geography, geopolitics, how the weather conditions are playing, the economy, as well as the inflation. There are many things that can impact the business, which is impacting the volumes of the business that we do. So predictions of what these impacts could be and in what area or what time frame, trends, patterns. This is something that is going to help us from a just strategic point of view when you're fine-tuning the business and navigating through how to expand your business as well. And looking into the more operational level, I would say that looking into how can we optimize and drive productivity within the business. So when you look at the different kind of equipment that we have and the operations we have, looking into a port and terminal, we do have a lot of expensive equipment, which should be utilized at an optimum to make the best out of it, as well as to manage the cost and make profit out of it. So how can we make sure that are these being utilized, the analytics around it, are there any more idle time, are there any more breakdowns happening? So these kind of operational analytics is going to help us quite a lot. As well as looking into the management of things, we do have a lot of warehousing, there's a lot of equipment movement, there's a lot of labor involved. So what are the opportunities where we could automate? Robotics, driverless vehicles, drones for mobile transformation. These are some of the things that we are using in AI space in driving through to make the business successful. And also looking at more customer centricity, because this is a customer-driven business. The volumes are being drawn and requested by different customers. So making it transparent, traceable. Because as customers and residents of UAE, we all want to see where our orders are. When is it coming? When did it leave the shop or the restaurant or even a port? So that traceability across the network from raw goods all the way up to from it comes to your doorstep we want to make sure that traceability is provided to the customer. So this is another area that we are looking at. And one more is around how can we drive sustainability, because our business uses a lot of energy, fuel, that means a lot of CO2 emissions and then harmful to the environment. So we are very conscious in terms of how can we drive sustainability. So the optimization and increasing productivity means you are looking at opportunities to narrow down or reduce the usage of fuel or any other energy sources. So this is the other way of contributing back, saying that trying to be more sustainable. So these are some of the examples from my line of business.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Shailesh?
Thank you, Professor. When I walked in today for this conference, I could help but notice, look at the emblem of the Harvard Business School, and it had 3 words on it, Veritas. I Googled the meaning of the word. It stands for goddess of truth, the Latin goddess of truth. So truth be told, I've been a learner of data analytics and AI for almost 3 decades now. And my passion for data analytics started, or in fact, further enhanced 25 years ago when I started neural networks. I've worked across multiple countries. Currently, I'm employed with Landmark Group, which is a fashion retailer across apparel, footwear, furniture, grocery, electronics, and many other sectors. So my role entails looking at inventory, pricing, customer, e-com, supply chain, and many other areas for each of these brands. Looking forward to the talk further.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah. Dino?
So the story of GEMS education and the story of my family are very closely intertwined. My grandparents, 2 teachers, made a really courageous journey 65 years ago from the south of India to Dubai. And they made this journey because they wanted to make a better life for themselves, their family, and frankly, this community, because they believed in the power of education. And then a few years later, my father saw not just an opportunity to fulfill a social imperative, but a commercial imperative as well. And essentially, we've grown to become one of the largest K-12, so primary and secondary education, so K-12 education providers in the world. And in the UAE alone today, we have the privilege of educating about 142,000 students. You talked about how has AI impacted our sector. To be honest, education today, more broadly, is still a relic of the industrial age. So if anything, AI adoption or AI integration is lagging, and frankly, it's being done very, very cautiously. But there is a significant imperative for it. I think when we were speaking a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that if you look at SDG 4, so this is the Sustainable Development Goals, it's the goal related to education. This is about providing access to quality education to every child on the planet. In order to meet that ambition, by 2030, we will be short of 100 million teachers. Essentially, between now and 2030, 350 million more students will join the K-12 sector, and frankly, you'll need to keep adding 1.5 million new teachers every year. So when you look at a shortage of that nature, the reality is that it cannot really be bridged with what we would think of as traditional solutions. So there is a real imperative for artificial intelligence or machine learning to help be a catalyst to bridge that gap. Now, how can it help, right? Whether it's virtual tutors, personalized learning engines, or what I like to call sort of an adaptive AI-driven learning engine, this is one way in which we believe we can start to address the nature of the challenge that exists in meeting SDG 4.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. We learned earlier today, right, about the power of like AI or Gen AI in terms of lowering the barriers to entry and democratizing the access to knowledge, skills, right? So I'm just curious to kind of hear your thoughts, right? How you think going forward AI or Gen AI is going to kind of affect the competitive dynamics in your industries, right? Do you think that going forward, the position of market leaders in your industry, such as your company, will be strengthened because of the use of AI, or will be weakened as a result of AI? Would love to just hear your thoughts. Yeah.
Well, looking at it, I think there's a lot of potential, as well as there's a lot of use cases and success stories coming out. I mean, we were hearing about it even today, since morning. But then I guess the pace of movement, of advancement, sometimes I feel that we could not keep have a good grip as a business, as well as like there's a lot of hype around it as well. I'm more conscious, I'm an auditor from profession in data space, so I'm always looking at the result or the value being added as well. So we would have to sort of have that measurement, the returns, as well as what exactly was the tangible benefit that has come in. From competition, yes, there is a lot of pressure, peer pressure coming in terms of expanding the business as well. But if I'm looking at the landscape of a company of my nature, which is operating on a global scale in different dimensions, different regions, each one of it is at a different maturity level when it comes to the infrastructure, the regulations, talent, skills, as well as the maturity of the business itself. So globally, even though we would want to fly, I mean, if I'm looking at the operations being led from Dubai, especially, like, we have that advantage of acquiring this infrastructure to the regulation and roll out much faster pace. But if I want to do it at the same scale and same speed across the globe, even though I have the funds and the company is in a good financial position, still there is a challenge which we need to address. So it has to be more regionalized. It has to be more business specific in my thinking, as well as need to see what is practical. Is each line of your business, each location of your business, is it ready? So I guess it's a careful consideration the leadership has to take, so that there is baby steps taken towards the right direction, not looking at that the holistic solution would fit every corner of your business. So this is the pros and the cons, or the opportunities and the challenges that we have as a global business scaling it up.
So to some extent, the complexity of running this global business itself, right, could become a barrier to entry for some of the new entrants to some extent.
Exactly. And if you don't know the pulse of the ground of where your business is, it is not something that you can, stay in one place and design, saying, this is my strategy, and 3 years down the line, this is what I'm going to achieve as a global organization. No, you need to have that sense, and then the feedback, understanding of where you're operating in, and what are your unique challenges in each of those places.
So this contextual knowledge is still a core competency.
Absolutely.
That's not going to be replaced easily by just the Gen AI or AI.
Absolutely, yes.
And Shailesh, you are in retail business. It's extremely competitive, right? I mean, like, what's your thought?
So before I answer your question, let's just understand AI in the context of humanity. AI is very, very different to any invention humanity has ever seen before. The invention of wheel, invention of computers, internet, mobile phones, big data, blockchain, anything. All of these are tools. You speak to your mobile phone, call this number, hey Siri, it will call that number. AI has a brain of its own. We've not really outsourced the decision-making entirely to the AI yet, but it has the potential of doing that. It has the potential of making smarter decisions, even sometimes better than human. May not today, but in the coming years, we will see that as well. We know that for sure. Its ability to hold data is definitely far superior than any human. Its ability to summarize data is far superior to anybody. And now, in the context of retail, if you look at it, you asked about it will make you stronger, it will make you weaker. Look, one of the good things about AI is the people who are the practitioners of AI, as well as the people who are the receiver of the AI, your end customers, They're all excited about it. The entire world is excited about it. Yes, there must be some fears around it, but generally speaking, there is a lot of excitement about what it brings to the table, how fast it can bring to the table. In certain areas, it's actually bringing it faster than you can absorb, faster than you can adapt to it. If I look at in the retail industry, how much you can personalize your communication, how much you can personalize your design, your pricing, your availability of the sizes and the inventory to your customer, that obviously is a game changer. And as retailers, we've been doing it for ages, for decades. Obviously, with the upcoming of AI, we are faster, we are more accurate, and then it's not just accurate for a country as a whole. When we look at it, the taste and the preference and the pricing changes every 50 kilometers. So every store appears to be different. What sort of merchandise do you put in each store? At what pricing? What price point will that be? And what kind of colors, what kind of designs will you put? It is very, very different. Now, obviously, we've been doing it for quite some time. A lot of it has been guesstimate. Then came statistical models. Then came machine learning models. The speed has been enhancing over the years. But with the upcoming of AI, we can change that very, very quickly. We can be more accurate. We can be more personalized. So it's not a question of will it make you stronger or weaker. Unfortunately, it's the very existential need for the retail industry, any retailer, from where I see.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Dino, right? So the education market, right, is often disrupted by ed tech companies, right? And so what's your thought? I mean, are you worried about all this kind of potential ed tech entrants, and do they keep you up at night? Yeah.
They certainly don't. To put it plainly, look, there are thousands of ed tech propositions and solutions out there, and what I've always said is, they operate in the periphery of the learning experience, or they operate within the subsets of. And so if you look at anything out there, it provides a very niche solution. Look, as we think about sort of artificial intelligence and frankly its potential benefits within our sector, certainly, we've got an ambition within GEMS Education to ensure that every teacher has access to an AI-driven instructional coach, so somebody to help them with that development. We certainly hope that within a few years, every child will have an AI-enabled learning coach. So again, that idea of a peer or a tutor. But we certainly believe that it does not replace the need for a great teacher, right? You still need a great teacher to be able to nurture and inspire human potential. And, obviously we're not talking about artificial general intelligence just yet, because in that scenario, the world may look vastly different. But certainly as we look at it, that great teacher and that development of human potential is frankly what we're all aspiring to. But yeah.
Well, thank you for saying that. As an educator myself, right? I completely agree, right? I don't want to be replaced by a robot either, right? And yeah, so all of you are kind of running multinational companies, right? So I just wonder, whether you could share some thoughts on the multinational nature of the business, how it's actually creating challenges or opportunities for scaling up, right? Basically, AI solutions within your organization. Yeah. And yeah.
Sure. I mean, as a multinational and a company which is handling higher volume of transactions, obviously that means high volume of data. And then we do have data sources coming in from across the world. We do see where the bananas get produced to getting delivered to, where the fish come from, how many vehicles come into a country, to everything. So that is a whole lot of intelligence coming in. So that is an advantage because we do have a lot of data. But then at the same time, that poses a challenge as well. Is this data reliable? Is this data accurate? And then how much of it is useful? and then how much can I get all of them into a single source in order to feed into my AI models, and then sort of help me with all the analytics or the predictions that I need to do. But then we do have the challenge of not all these data sources in the ideal world in a single platform where easily accessible. I think all the data professionals here would say that the challenges we have is having the right data, high quality data, accessible at the right time and with the right information coming in. So that is a challenge. And then not to have silo-based data sources, distributed, but then accessible, and then where you can leverage the overall benefit of having that diverse data being captured. And just like I said before, the challenges with regard to the infrastructure setup, as well as the governance setup, regulations in each of these geographies that we operate in poses its own unique challenges as well. Whether you can bring in data from outside from a particular country or a region, or can you put it on the cloud, that itself is a challenge in certain geographies coming in. So that poses a bigger challenge for us when you want to leverage the benefit out of data and feeding in and building these models coming in. And apart from that is being a global organization, you are targeted to a lot of cyber criminals coming in, access breaches coming in. So that is another challenge, that we need to make sure that our AI or data ecosystem has a stronger security and governance control around it as well. Otherwise, like, you know, you would be losing out on a lot of things, as well as damage to your brand image as well.
Thank you for sharing, right? So there are lots of reasons that could cause any of the AI initiatives to fail, adoption to fail.
Yes.
Yeah, Shailesh, any thoughts?
So before we understand the challenges, let me put the AI in three frameworks, or three steps. One is the very, very basic, which is the automation and efficiency, and everybody is going after automation and efficiency, and they're acing it, majority of across the industries with some amount of failure. The second one is controlled decision making, where it's hybrid. You give some control, let the AI decide for certain things, but predominantly it's rule-based. It can, there are certain guardrails in place. And comes the last one, which is uncontrolled decision making and creativity. That's where you just like let the generative AI bloom on its own, let it take the decision, let it respond to the customer based on whatever it feels, and there aren't any guardrails. That's the unexplored territory that nobody at this stage wants to go to. People want to be in the middle zone, the sweet spot, but again, majority of us have not gotten there for all the use cases. Now, the challenges that we face from moving from automation and efficiency to the middle layer, which is semi-controlled decision-making and creativity, is your data layer. Your data has to be sorted. If your data is like, obviously both you and Dino are from the education industry, it's like your mentor, it's like your teacher. Whatever it will teach you, you will start behaving like that. If your data is incorrect, your AI will be incorrect. And if your data is not sorted, your data layer is incorrect, then you cannot. The other challenges obviously will be the technology platform. The third could be your talent, which is going to be training your AI model. If your data, even if it is correct, but it has got inherent biases, then that's what you're going to be seeing. Biases could be with regards to a certain type of customer, based on their location, their demographics or behavior, and those ones need to be eliminated before you can go on to that. So look, I think largely speaking, for me personally, I can give you a laundry list of at least a dozen, but two are the most important, the data and platform, and the second one is the talent.
Thank you. Building the platform is a very big deal. Yeah, very big deal. Yes. And Dino, right? So I mean, your company needs to educate students across so many countries and markets, right? And how would the need to bring them up to speed on AI, right? Creates the challenges as you are running this business.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's inevitable challenges related to integrating AI or adopting AI within a large ecosystem, and to be able to do it with real impact and efficacy. That's relevant to any sector. But I think what I get most excited about as far as AI's possibility or potential is actually what it's done to the underlying education model. For hundreds, if not thousands of years, educators have always been focused on the quality of the answer that you get from a student. That's no longer relevant. The information is so ubiquitous now that we have had to move to a scenario where we are judging the quality of the question. And that, for me, is frankly what education is all about. How good is the question? How good is the question that a young person is able to ask that's going to enable them to be able to, and the way that I kind of describe it is, unlearn, relearn, find clarity and connection in complexity. So what are the questions that they need to ask in order to be able to find that clarity and connection? That's the sort of world that we're heading to. So for me, that's what actually the advent and the inevitable sort of exponential creep of artificial intelligence has led us to, which is fundamentally to change the way in which we educate our children.
So this is totally aligned with our teaching methodology, right? At HBS, it's case-based, and faculty in the classroom often just focuses on asking questions, right? We try to ask lots of thought-provoking questions to enhance the learning experience, right? So going forward, it looks like all the students need to be able to ask really good questions, right? Not just about producing answers. Yeah. And so let's actually talk a little bit more about the talent and also skill set, right? We need to have going forward, right? So reflecting on my own experience, I have a 12-year-old boy, and after he discovered ChatGPT, right, he kept pushing me, asking me why do I need to learn English? Why do I need to learn math? Why do I need to learn coding? Because in the future, AI can do all this, right? Why do I have to do this, right? And so I wonder, what your thoughts are what kinds of skill sets, right? And the students, in addition to just asking questions, what kinds of things that the students should be focusing on learning, right, going forward? And what are the most important skill sets they need to have going forward? Maybe we could start with Dino, given that
it's again, it's a question I'm asked a lot because of the nature of what we do and the context that we all find ourselves in. To be honest, a big part of what I think is important to be able to inculcate in young people is character, its values. You need to be able to give them a framework within which they can make an informed choice or informed set of choices. The second thing I would say, and frankly I think this is relevant for all of us, even in our lives as adults, you've got to be able to inculcate a real enduring love of learning. So, I couldn't tell you what the specific skill sets or competencies will be 10, 20, 30 years from now, but if you know that you've inculcated that love of learning, then actually the success and the potential for that person is enduring as well.
So this enjoyment of learning is actually quite important. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, Shailesh and Anjana, so as you are looking for talent, right? I mean, AI talent. What kinds of skill sets, right? You would pay attention to, right? What kinds of AI talent you are looking for in your industry?
So I'll give you two answers. Firstly, as a businessman, which one is a better talent for me? AI itself is the best talent for me as a businessman, because for simple reasons, it works harder than any human being. It is most accurate than anybody else and does not ask for a pay rise every 6 months. So, but now as a human, the talent that we look for in the upcoming years definitely has to be critical thinking, that's for sure. Problem solving, there are multiple AI agents which can do a specific task or a series of tasks. But then when you put all of those agents together and you can bring all those individual pieces of jigsaw puzzle together, that's where the real magic happens. And I think somebody to be able to zoom out of just getting into the detail and then how best you can code, because the coding will not be a skill set in the next 5 years. Nobody can code better than AI itself. It's bug-free, it comments the code, it can do the documentation of the code by itself. So that's not really a unique skill set anymore. But if you zoom out and you look at the bigger picture and you can bring all of those pieces together, I think that's going to be a really, really good skill set. And the third one, it will be the human interaction. The AI solutions that are extremely advanced and personalized when it comes to man-machine interface, and they appear as human, are going to be far more superior, far more successful than the ones which appear to be robots. And the people who are designing those solutions, if they don't understand the human interactions, if they are thinking like a flow chart and very mechanically and robotically, which robots can think better than the human themselves, then those solutions are not going to sustain. And hence, somebody having a very good understanding of human interaction and developing an AI solution, which does a good job, that's the third skill I will bet on.
Thank you for sharing.
It's interesting. I think I agree with both Dino and Shailesh with regard to the skill sets looking at. So I would be looking at people. I think I like the fact that Dino mentioned, saying that the informed choice. When it comes to technology, when it comes to developing solutions, having that sound understanding of the technologies underlying, as well as having the right business acumen is very critical. Because what are you trying to use it for? What is the purpose it's going to be? The staff needs to have a good understanding about that. They should be able to quickly learn as well as unlearn, relearn. Because we are living in a space, era where there's a lot of new challenges, new things coming up. So you need to be keeping up if you want to be having an edge, as well as be better from the rest. As well as sort of that human touch, the human understanding, as well as empathy. And being able to make, this is an era where you will be co-create. You're not competing with AI, but it's an era where you can co-create things, co-generate things. So having that understanding, maturity, as well as drive, to make sure that you could be creative using these tools so that you could do much more. So the creativity, innovation, these are some of the factors that I would be looking into, apart from having a solid foundation, because whatever the profession they're coming from, you need to be brilliant in the basics, right? You need to know the business, you need to know the technology, and then how you could marry them to achieve the overall purpose. So this is something that I would look at, like, how somebody would quickly learn, how much of an understanding they have on the technology, the businesses, and how willing they are to learn new things, so that informed decision, what is required to run a business, can be done.
So enjoying learning and also the ability to learn new stuff.
New skills, yes.
And also like this big picture thinking, and also all the skill sets that can complement the AI instead of racing with AI,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
As a key factors going forward. Yeah. So I noticed that our time is up, right? So I'd like to just take the opportunity to thank our panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you.